Hello, YouTubers. Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. And let me remind you all that tomorrow on Friday, we will have a live stream at 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. All right. It'll be the first live stream after my last live stream where I let you all know that I was going to take pretty much the month of March off. So I want to explain to you why it is specifically that I took the month of March off. I'm probably going to put in the title that it has something to do with me being diagnosed with diabetes about a couple of months ago. But I want to tell you the story because there's a story behind it. And hopefully it will help some people, right? Because I did learn a couple of lessons from this experience that I've gone through. And I'm pretty sure that I'll learn more as time goes by. So about 2 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, about a month before I decided to take this month off, my wife told me, you need to go to the doctor and get a checkup. You haven't gotten a checkup in a long time. And the reason being is I really haven't shared it with many people, is I was getting headaches, and I normally don't get headaches. So she talked me into going to the doctor, and I remember talking to you all during one of our live streams saying, hey, I went to the doctor and I got a clean bill of health. Well, that was just from the visual, right? That was just from the visual. I didn't tell you about how a week later I got my blood work back, and I got a phone call from my doctor telling me that my A1C level, which is the level of sugar or glucose in your blood that lets you know what part of the diabetic range you're in. And to let you all know, my A1C came back at 9.2, which to many people, and as well as to myself when I heard it, didn't mean much. But when it meant a lot to me that it was 9.2 was when the doctor explained to me that average A1C is between 4.5 and 5. So my A1C level came back at about roughly twice as much as what normal is. And I had to reflect on myself as far as what I could do in order to undo what has taken me years to do. Now, let me go ahead and put this out there really quick, ladies and gentlemen. I am 100%, in my opinion, responsible for this. This is what is called adult onset diabetes, meaning that I did this. I did this because I failed to look after myself the way that I should have looked after myself. I failed to go and get an examination every year or a checkup every year from my doctor for like 6 or 7 years. And I should have done that. Even though my wife told me you should go get a checkup, even though some of my friends told me you should go get a checkup, I'm not looking for any pity here, and I'm not looking to put blame anywhere else. All right. The doctor just happened to run an A1C for me because on my questionnaire, I had put down that, yeah, my mother and my father and pretty much every aunt and uncle that I have that's still alive and that has passed, they all had diabetes. So he said, I decided to check you, even though everything looked good on face value during your checkup, just to make sure. And that's why he found out that I had a high A1C reading. All right. So, you know, even though I may have been a little bit genetically prepositioned to get diabetes, this, in my opinion, I would say at least 95%, if not more, could have been prevented had I done the right thing, mainly gotten a checkup every year. Because had I started getting a checkup every year after I got out of the military, it would have probably been found out when I was just pre-diabetic, when I had an A1C of like between 5.5 and 6.5. And I could have started working on it then instead of waiting until it was so high. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there to let you all know that, yes, I understand that there was a very hard lesson to learn here. And for me, that hard lesson hopefully will turn into a lesson for someone else. That way you don't have to find out 3 or 4 years after you've already been a diabetic that you have been one, right? And then it being more difficult for you to reverse the things that you can reverse. When the doctor told me this, I was a little bit in awe. I really was. It was a very big surprise to me, but it also wasn't a surprise because, like I said, I grew up with a mom and dad that were both diabetics, and a lot of my families are. So I told them after I was over the 5 or 10 second shock, I told my doctor, I said, I don't want to take any medication. I said, I want to do whatever I have to do, and I want to do it naturally. And he kind of paused there for a second, and I told him, I said, I seen my mom have to inject herself with insulin and stuff like that, and I said, I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want that as part of my life. I said, I did this by having adverse behaviors throughout the years, and I can undo this, or hopefully undo this, by having positive behaviors henceforth. So he told me what to do. He said, I can't really recommend anything to you officially except for medication to bring this down. However, go take a look at this YouTube channel. And the name of the YouTube channel is Jason Fung. And he is a doctor, Dr. Jason Fung. But the YouTube channel's name is Jason Fung. And he said, this doctor here, he talks about a lot of natural ways that you can actually remedy and even in some cases reverse diabetes. So now, this all happened, ladies and gentlemen, before I actually started taking the month of March off. This was all in February that this was happening. So I started researching Dr. Fung, and I started implementing some of the things that he talks about, one of them being intermittent fasting, which I was already doing, but I was kind of like doing it wrong. And guess what? I've got a whole bunch of new recipes for food that are diabetic friendly. So guess what's going to happen? About once a week or so, or once every other week, I'm going to put out a cooking video, hoping that some of you out there that may fall into a diabetic range, or that just want to have meals that are very low in sugar or carbohydrates, that you'll enjoy some of the videos that I put up, because I'll tell you what, very tasty indeed. So it's something that's allowed me to actually look into cooking in a different way than I have in the past. And I know I'm all over the place here, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm very excited to be back, and I'm just talking with you all like I normally do. I was actually going to write a plan on how to talk through this video. Like, number one, let me talk about how I found out that I had diabetes. Number two, let me talk about why I decided, but I can't do that. But anyways, there's going to be a lot of videos coming out on stuff that has to do with food and things like that. But going back, when the doctor told me this, I went and checked out Dr. Fung. And that same day, I went into what I like to call military mode. Meaning that you're going to do this, this is what you're going to do, and that's it. There's not going to be any excuses. This is what you're going to do. And I call that the come to Jesus moment, right? The moment when you say, okay, I'm faced with a binary decision, A or B. You either continue to live the way that you've been living, or and face your mortality a lot sooner than maybe you would like, or you make the changes that you have to make right now in order to extend out your mortality, hopefully out to where the good Lord intended you to phase it out, right? So I decided to do B, do what I have to do. And I went full blast. I started that same day doing intermittent fasting like I have been, but eating the types of foods that I have to eat to live. Of course, you have to incorporate a little bit of exercise into your day, whether it be walking or whether it be going to the gym. And I started going to the gym, but ladies and gentlemen, I just hate going to the gym. And I'm glad that I went to the gym for a few weeks there, pretty much every other day, because I met a couple of our community members there, all right? I met a couple of our community members there, Janice and Pete. So that was a great blessing, but I just hate going to the gym. So what I do at home is I do a little bit of exercise, either in the morning or in the evening, as far as a little bit of weight training with some dumbbells that I have. I have an elliptical, and I walk up and down my hill with the dogs. But that's what I started to do, but I was having problems. And here we're going into the part where I tell you why I decided to take this month off. I was having problems. I was getting really bad headaches. Which I figured out why. And I was having bad back pains, which ended up being because my kidneys were working a little harder than they're supposed to. And I guess with diabetics, your kidneys end up working a little harder. But I was getting these back pains, and I was like, man, it must just be a muscle. Maybe I pulled a muscle, but it's not that. It ended up being just because my kidneys were working a little bit harder. But that's going to fix itself over time as my A1C goes down in level, and as I pretty much streamline what I need to do on a daily basis without having to think about it. It's just going to be muscle memory. But anyways, my headaches were really bad. So that's why I decided to go ahead and take the month of March off, or most of the month of March off. If you all remember a few live streams in the month of February, I think I ended up canceling 2 or 3 live streams because I was under the weather, and it was because I was having pretty bad headaches. And the headaches I figured out, and it's kind of funny or ironic in a way what my headaches were coming from, but I'm so very happy that I figured them out, and I'm so very glad for my wife. So here for about 2 days in a row, I was getting really bad headaches, and they wouldn't go away. And I normally don't get headaches. So on the 3rd day, and this is after I started implementing, after I went on military mode, right? I'm doing this, and this, and that's it. And I'm not going to diverge from it in any way, right? So on the 3rd day of me getting these headaches really bad, I wake up in the morning. It was probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. First thing that I do in the morning is I go get myself a cup of water or a bottle of water. This one right here. All right. And the first thing I do is I fill it up with water. And then I put a couple of pieces of ice in there and I drink this first. And like I said, this is ironic. I'm like, because I felt so bad that morning. And I remember seeing the water go up on this as I'm filling it up. And I felt so terrible. I felt like I was going to kind of like pass out. You know, I thought that maybe my wife might have to call 911 or take me to the emergency room. That's how bad I felt. Well, as I see the water go up in this bottle, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I am eating once a day a very restrictive diet of very low carbohydrates. And I'm drinking reverse osmosis water. And that's why I say it's ironic, because I champion reverse osmosis water all the time. I think every family in the United States ought to have a reverse osmosis water filtration system. And I still do. But what I failed to acknowledge previously is that not only am I only eating once a day a restrictive diet, but I'm also drinking water that has absolutely nothing in it. Now, I've said in the past, and I still stand by this, that if you drink reverse osmosis water, there's nothing wrong with it, as long as you're eating throughout the day, because when you eat, you provide your body with electrolytes, right? And your body needs electrolytes. But I wasn't doing that. I had diverted from doing that, what I was doing in the past, to something new. So here, instead of feeding myself water, I'm drinking water that's actually taking everything out of me, taking all of the nutrients and taking the electrolytes out of me. So the more of this that I drank, the worse it was, because there was no electrolytes in it. So when I thought about that on that 3rd day that I felt so terrible, my wife has some electrolyte powders that she uses on a regular basis. So I put some of that powder in here. And I'll show you what it is, because it's a really good powder. It tastes really good, and it's got no sugar in it. Ladies and gentlemen, after I chugged this bottle of water that I put electrolytes in on that 3rd day of me thinking I was going to have to go to the hospital, I literally felt my body inside sucking in all that water. So I was so low on electrolytes that I felt like I was going to pass out, and I probably would have. But that's how I fix my headaches. I haven't really had a headache since. Every once in a while, I'll get a headache here or there. That does have to do with the diabetes. That does have to do with the sugar. And one of the reasons for that is because another thing that I found out is that stress also allows your body to produce a hormone. And I think the name of that hormone is cortisol. I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. That stress allows your body to produce a hormone that will make your body's sugar level go up. All right. And that's where the news comes in. So I talked to a doctor about this as well, because here I'm sitting with I have what's called a continuous glucose monitor. And I'll go ahead and show you a picture of it somewhere here on this video so you can see what it means, what it is. But it's just a little disc that gets inserted into your arm, and you do it yourself. And then you put an app on your phone, and you can continuously monitor what your glucose levels are. And there are times during the day where I was doing everything right. I was doing my exercises. I was eating right. But my sugar would just spike up and down and up and down. And I talked to the doctor about this, and she told me, it's stress. What are you so stressed about? So I told her my daily routine. And she said, all you do is consume bad news. She said, all you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed is look at bad news. And even though you think you may be used to it, still it's stressful. it puts stresses on your body, via your mind, obviously, that you may not think is stressful, but it is. And that's where all of these spikes are coming from, to the best of her ability, right? Because I could be telling her one thing and I could be lying, but, I don't like to lie to my doctors because they're there to help me. So she said, you need to cut out all of this stress. You need to decompress. And that's why I decided to take this month off of March, because I needed to take a look at exactly what am I achieving here. I think that as far as waking people up, I have achieved as much as I am personally capable of achieving without damaging my own health. And obviously, it took this to wake me up to the fact that too much stress will damage your health, or will play a factor in damaging your health. So pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, I've already gone over all of the reasons in the last several years as to why we need to prepare. We all know that eventually there's going to be some kind of a market crash. It's just a cycle. We all know that eventually the banks are going to go under. And I have not watched or consumed any news whatsoever this entire month. The only thing that I know about from a friend of mine is that some banks, I think in California, went under and had to be bailed out. That's the only real news. We could be at war right now, and I have no idea. But I figure, ladies and gentlemen, going forward, that if some kind of an SHTF occurrence happens in the world, that someone that I know or someone that we know will let me know about it. And all of the things that we've talked about over the year, war, market crash, the devaluation of the dollar, the food system, all of these things that we've talked about, ladies and gentlemen, they're all real things that can happen. But we've talked about them. And now I'm hoping that most of those of you that have watched the videos throughout the years, that you are prepared for those things, or that you are at least prepared at the basic level. So going forward, I'm not going to watch any more news. I'm not going to read any more news. I haven't even watched a YouTube video all month. The month of March. I haven't watched one YouTube video, not even one of my own, believe it or not. All right. And I'm just going to be coming out with regular content that you'll either like or you won't like. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to still have a Friday live stream. And I'm going to think about Sundays. I think I may change that up a little bit because I really like the time off. This last month has been pretty awesome, really, for me and my family. We've done a lot more than what we normally do as a family. And I obviously haven't been spending too much time, in the bunker. But I'm still going to do what I've been doing. I'm just not going to do any more news. And for those of you that used to enjoy the news videos that I did, then there's a whole bunch of other channels that do that on a daily basis, that their hosts can handle doing those kind of videos. So you can go and check those guys out. I mean, there's a lot of good people that still do that stuff, and I encourage you to go check them out. All right. However, I'm going to go back to doing the things that I really enjoy doing, like making soap, like cooking, like testing and researching flashlights. I'm going to try to have at least one review video per week. All right. One review video per week. And I'm going to just, have videos on basic things, doing what I do on a daily basis to continue to prepare. But that's pretty much what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I do have pretty good news, too. I do have some good news. So as I stated, my first A1C score or level was rated at 9.2. That was my number, 9.2. So about a month and a week or so after that, I did a home test A1C, and it came in at 7.2, which told me that what I was doing for the first month was working. And then I did another one about a week ago before I had a doctor's appointment that I had to go to. And my A1C was down once again to 6.3. So I've gone from 9.2 to 6.3 in about 2 months. My doctor told me that if I continue doing what I've been doing, because I've been documenting everything, she told me that by the next time that I take an official A1C test, which will be in the end of April, that hopefully my A1C will be below 6, which will be great. Will be great progress. So I'm very happy that I took this time off Everything that I've been doing so far is working. Still having a couple of small problems, issues here and there, but it's working out, ladies and gentlemen. I want to finish it off with this. Of course, remember that we're going to have a live stream on Friday, right? 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. But I want to thank every single one of you that called the coin shop and asked Jerry and Dick if they've heard anything. I apologize to any of you that maybe did not watch my last live stream where I told you all that I was going to take this month off. But it really warmed my heart to know that you all went out of your way to get a hold of Jerry and Dick at the coin shop to ask how I was doing. I want to thank every single one of you that have emailed me. To tell you the truth, I've only opened one email in this month. And it just happened by happenstance because I was holding my phone and I saw an email come on and I just clicked on it and I replied to that email to a very nice community member that was wondering how I was doing. So I haven't checked any emails at all. So if you send me an email, please don't take it personal that I haven't replied. I just needed to disconnect 100% from the grid and social media for this month to concentrate on the things that really do matter. So I want to thank every single one of you that messaged me. I want to thank every one of you that's watching this that came back to see, hey, what's going on with AP? Is he crazy? What's going on? Is he in an asylum? But I want to thank every single one of you. I truly do appreciate every one of you. And I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It just made me feel so warm inside, ladies and gentlemen, that you all went through the trouble of calling Jerry and Dick. And it made me feel sorry for Jerry and Dick having to pick up the phone and let you all know that, yeah, he's all right. You know, he's all right. But thank you very much. I truly do appreciate every one of you. And guess what? I cannot wait to see you all tomorrow. All right, so God bless every one of you. This video has gone on forever. So God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.